Welcome, you're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. The European Parliament has voted for the critical resolution on Brexit talks. A number of experts have already evaluated the document as a pre-stage to yet another clash between the UK and EU. To get a better understanding of the situation, we're joined in the studio today by Nadia Koval. She's an expert with the NGO Ukrainian Institute for the Future. Hello, and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So, my first question would be, what is the aim, or if I could say so, what is the purpose of this critical resolution?
This is a resolution which assesses how successful the negotiations are. Mm-hmm. We now have a fourth round of negotiations since summer already. And this is actually a position of the European Parliament that will be presented at the Council, at the European Council on October 20. When the heads of governments and states will decide if sufficient progress has been made in negotiations, and if we can move to some further stage, if we, for example, can move to watch what Great Britain would like to discuss, the future relationship between the United Kingdom and European Union, or we still should be negotiating about the terms of divorce.
Okay. As far as I know, there are three main issues that should be taken into account while negotiating the Brexit process. And the first one of them is ensuring the rights of citizens of EU and UK. Could you dwell on that a little more?
This is a problem because now in the European Union, and UK is still a member of European Union, there are four freedoms. And one of the freedoms is freedom of movement of people. People can work, people can live anywhere in the EU.
I see.
And and they can work and live, and this entails some practical problems. What documents they have to submit, what rights they have to state in each country, for how long. And so and so and so. And after the divorce, after the Brexit, the question, how will be the rights of European citizens in the UK and UK citizens in the EU countries? What will become with this right? What will be these rights? And there are pretty much different positions because actually the position of the European Union is largely to retain most of the rights and to keep the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice to oversee those rights. But one of the principal demands of Brexit is the end of the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice on the British land, and for the British courts to take, let's say, care of all this stuff. And of course there are different ways how
this could be done.
For example, how would European citizens register in the UK? Should just register? Should they be allowed to live for some time? And so on and so forth. And the position of the European Parliament is, as I said, to keep the maximum of the existing rights, not to disrupt the normal functioning of lives of people and their work.
Yeah. What about the financial obligations of the UK in front of the EU? That is also not resolved yet.
The financial obligations is a tricky issue because actually this is a thing which European Commission and European negotiator Michel Barnier has put ahead long ago, arguing that United Kingdom has to, pay something which is due, but it's still not very understandable what should the UK pay. And now the idea is that UK should present a methodology of its own and to show what will be paid. So the problem is that United Kingdom is one of the net contributors to the budget of the European Union. It's the second only to Germany. And with UK leaving, there will be a big hole in the European budget. And also UK has some obligations as to functioning of different EU institutions and agencies and stuff.
Naturally.
And this is a big piece of contention. If UK has to pay something, now even Prime Minister May agrees that something will be paid, and how much should be paid. And there are also some issues like if UK leaves the single market, but it wants the access to single market, should it pay to access to single market? So this is the second issue.
Do the rest of the countries that are not in the European Union pay for having the access to the single market in the EU?
If they do not have a free trade agreement, there are duties, there are like normal duties to trade between the countries. When UK leaves, there is a question, if we keep its free trade or we impose duties, tariff barriers, once again.
And that is another issue to be discussed, right?
Yes, it's another issue to be discussed.
Okay, approximately, I know it's hard to make forecasts in this situation, but approximately when actually can the Brexit happen?
Oh, this is not a difficult question.
Okay.
It should happen on March 29, 2019, because according to the European law, Britain has 2 years to quit European Union since the time it filed in its paper that notification of Brexit. Yes, this happened of 19th March 2017. Again, 29th March 2019 should be the last day of Great Britain in the European Union. And the problem in these negotiations is that they are going slowly and with big problems. And probably they would need more time to properly manage all their issues concerned to this, again, divorce. And now there are many talks about should we need another period, some transition period.
Yes, this is exactly
should
what
it
I
be
wanted
2
to
years?
ask.
Should it be more? Because like British business insists, no, we will not be ready in 2 years, and now it's a year and a half, just to wave goodbye to the European Union and to trade, for example, with the European Union according to the rules of general rules of World Trade Organization, with all the tariffs and duties that's about.
But what if the divorce doesn't happen on the already voiced date? Should there be any punitive measures towards UK?
No, there shouldn't be punitive measures. Up to now, the position of the British government is if we do not get a good deal to divorce with the European Union by the time, we will have no deal. So we're just quitting. Full stop.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. The only problem is that the scenario of simply quitting is often described as problematic, and in some circles also as catastrophic, because there might be shocks and problems for British economy, and everyone would like not to carve the UK totally from the European economy, and that's the problem. Everyone is interested to have the deal that limits the damages for both sides.
This is good, but overall, when the divorce does actually happen, the effect of this divorce, the worst part of the effect, is it still going to be on the EU or in the UK? Who's going to lose?
That's the question to discuss. Different people say different things. European Union already suffers some problems, I say, on the level of politics, because it's the first time that the country voluntarily does not want to be the member of EU, and
that's a lot of controversy.
Yes, and this is undermines in part the credibility of EU as a successful project.
Of course.
And of course, there will be some economic consequences for the EU. As I said, this loss of budget contributions from the UK, which is a net donor, which means that it gives much more to the budget of the European Union as received. So actually, this is a problem for the countries which are recipients of the EU budget, like the countries of Central and Eastern Europe. And the problem would be either these countries who are recipients receive less, or the countries who are donors start paying more.
Even more.
And that might not be very popular with public. So this, for the European Union, might be a problematic issue. On the other side, for the Britain, it's a very risky endeavor just to carve itself out of the established economic trading bloc, from the customs union, from the free trade agreement, signing new trade agreements with other countries. And This can create a short or long, we will see, because there are different evaluations, period of economic, I say, decline in the UK. And of course, the politicians who support Brexit, like Boris Johnson, from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, he says it's a short period, but then we will be free and we will be more creative. We will not be limited by some limits in the European Union, and our economy actually will thrive. Okay. And there are also some, Labour politicians or business leaders who say, no, we should aim to stay as close to the single market and the customs union as possible, because shocks for our populations could be unbearable and stuff.
Okay, well, hopefully UK and the EU would manage to strike a good deal for both sides of the party. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for clarifying the situation for me and our audience. That was Nadia Koval, who is an expert with the NGO Ukrainian Institute for the Future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.